Hello, this is Doug Farragher. In conjunction with Manx Radio, I'd like to invite you to join us and learn something about our native Gaelic tongue, the language of man. These 12 lessons should be a useful introduction to Manx. The emphasis is on learning to speak Manx, but the lessons should also suit you if you're more interested in learning to read and write the language. Although the lessons have been written specifically for broadcasting by Manx Radio, they can be used by learners and teachers independently of the broadcasts. But the booklet should be used with the cassettes which have been prepared. If you're pushed for time, it's better to study for a short time each day rather than a long time every couple of weeks. Best of all is a long time every day. And if it's at all possible, make learning the language a social occasion, make it fun. Lesson 9, Lesson 1, Goaill toshiaght, getting started. The main aim of these lessons is to give you a sound basis of spoken Manx. Use the language as much as possible and try not to be afraid of making mistakes. Manx is a Celtic language. Like Scottish Gaelic, it's an offshoot of Irish, which developed into a separate language. English became the majority language in the Isle of Man during the 19th century, and following the decline of Manx, the last Manx speakers died in recent years. However, the language was preserved and has been greatly revived. Even a superficial study of this most precious heritage should open your eyes to a world of Manx culture which you may not have known to exist. Whatever your reasons for studying Manx, whether social, academic, or other, you are virtually assured of a lively and fascinating activity which can open many doors to you on the island and in many other countries, especially the 6 Celtic ones. Since the spelling of Manx is based on that of English, it suffers from the same lack of consistency as English spelling. We don't want to get bogged down with lists of rules about Manx spelling at this or any other stage, but there are some guidelines you'll find useful. Above all, watch the letter Y. This is hardly ever pronounced as in English. Y is generally pronounced like the vague A or sound at the end of the name Sarah. Here are some examples. Ben McCree sounds like Bedden McCree, meaning the woman of my heart. Cronk Namona means hill of the peat. Anshulachen is pronounced Anshulachen and means the promenade. You'll see quite a few Manx words ending in EY. This is pronounced or ya. You have to learn which. Some examples. Peel Castle is said to be haunted by Anmar the Dhu, the black dog. Notice that the word for black, which is Dhu, comes after the word for dog, Marda. Stred na Killie, the street of the church, or Church Street. Looking at other letters which might give problems, C is always pronounced like K, never as S. CH is pronounced either as in English, when it is often written as C cedilla H, or as the CH in Scottish Loch. Some examples. Pertachi, which is a well-known name in Douglas, meaning the harbour or the port of the ferry. Machara, my friend. GH is pronounced either like CH in Scottish Loch, or rather like a G sound. If you can't say this latter sound, don't worry. Just say G as in give, but not as in gem. Some examples. Cronkrianach, Sunny Hill. Bega, or Bega, living. Boch, poor. You have to learn when to say GH like Scottish CH and when to say the G sound. Double T and double D are often pronounced like English th, as in that. Brathen is a salmon. The English TH sound, as in thin, does not exist in Manx. Manx TH is pronounced like T. What we call Tholta Will is really pronounced in Manx Gaelic Tolta Will. The long vowel sound A sounds like the first vowel in the name Sarah. Here's an example. Le Colum Killia, the day of Colum Killia. An unwritten D is pronounced before N in some Manx words. Bedden, woman. Leaden, full. Getting on to the language itself now, quite a few people will know that Canastashu means, how are you? The same people may well know that a suitable answer is brau, meaning fine. Let's look at this more closely. Canas means how. Ta means are. Am is, there are. Shu means you. Canastaju, how are you? We say shu if we are talking to more than one person, or if we are talking politely or respectfully to one person. If we are talking in a familiar and friendly way to one person, we say oo for you. After te or ta, oo comes out like this. Canastau, how are you? Instead of canis, we often say kiss, as in kistau, how are you? Other answers to canastaju and canastau could be fi-vai or leaden-vai, very well. My the lure, well enough. Gull as gagan, going and grumbling. Fi-vai goramayu, very well, thank you. Fi-vai goramayed, very well, thank you. Goramayu is the Manx for thank you or thanks if we're talking to more than one person, or if we're talking politely to one person. Goramai ed is thank you or thanks if we're speaking in a familiar way to one person. In the replies to Canastashu and Kistau in section 1, there were these words: fear, very; my, good; leaden, much; full or very; the lure, enough or plenty; gull, going; as, and; gagan, grumbling; goramayu, thank you, that's the polite form; goramayed, thank you, that's the familiar form. Notice that after fear, the M in my changes to V. My, good; fi-vai, very good. This is an example of the sort of letter change or mutation which takes place in Manx and other Celtic languages. There are rules for when these letters change, but we needn't bother with these rules too much at this stage. The word leaden, meaning full, is pronounced as if there were a D before the N. This D sound creeps into some more words in Manx, which we'll meet shortly. You may recognize the lure as an old friend from the saying "tre the lure," which really means time enough or time galore. Remember that is generally not pronounced as in English. D sounds like the English word the, or the French de. Goramayu and Goramayed literally mean, may there be good at you. In other words, thank you. Say we want to ask how somebody is, somebody who isn't actually there. We could say, Canis the Ewan? How is Ewan? Or we could say, Crenach the Ewan? How is Ewan? The answer might be, the Ewan Fiavai. Ewan is very well. Notice the Manx word order. The word for is comes at the beginning. Another way to answer the question, Crenach the Ewan, would be, Te Fiavai. He's very well. A means he. Ta and A together come out as te, meaning he is. If you are asked how you are, you might answer, Tammy Fivai, I'm very well. Me means I. Tammy means I am. Here are some other possible answers. Tammy Ledden Vai, I'm very well. Tammy Mai the Lure Goramayed, I'm well enough, thanks. Tammy Gullas Gagan, I'm going and complaining, or going and grumbling. Say you are asked how a girl or lady is. Crenach ta Eilish, how is Eilish? A possible answer is Te Fiavai, she's very well. E means she, and T, or Te, means she is. Here are some common greetings in Manx. Moramai, good morning. Lemai, good day. Fastamai, good afternoon or good evening. Evai, good night. Listing the individual words, mai is good, mora is morning, le, day, faster, afternoon or evening, e, night. From these expressions, you can see that the Manx word for good, which is mai, comes after the words for morning, day, and so on. Manx word order is often different from that in English. In general, if you want to go into the grammar of Manx in more detail, you should study the notes which come after the lessons in the accompanying booklet. We'll finish off our greetings with some Manx you might have seen on Christmas cards. Nolik Genno, Merry Christmas. Bladen Vino, Happy New Year, which really means a good new year. Listing the new words here, Nolik is Christmas, Genno, Merry, Bladen, year, no, new. There is no word for a, or an in Manx, so Bladen means year or a year. In the same way, le means day or a day. Faster means afternoon or an afternoon, and so on. If we're introducing someone called Pedder, that's Peter, we can say, Shoch Pedder, this is Peter, or this is Pedder. Here are some other examples. Shaw Eilish, this is Eilish. Shoch Juden, this is John. Shaw Katrina, this is Catherine. Shaw Meinster Carouche, this is Mr. Carouche. Shaw Beneinster Convig, this is Mrs. Convig. The Manx for Mr. is Meinster, written as MNR. Mrs. is Beneinster, written as BNR. If we're being inquisitive, we can ask, Quai Shaw, who's this? Quai Shedden, who's that? Quai means who, Shedden means that. Answers to Quai Shedden might be, Shedden beneinst the Krellin, that's Mrs. Krellin. Shedden Ilya McClugesh, That's William Clucas. Shedden Meinster Crageen. That's Mr. Crageen. To round off our lesson on greeting and introductions, we need a couple more useful words and expressions. Heeden, self. Me heeden, myself. U heeden, yourself. Kiss thou heeden, how are you yourself? Nish, now. Sleddenliat, goodbye. That's the familiar form to one person. Sleddenliu, goodbye. That's the polite form if you're speaking to one person, or the usual form if there's more than one person you're saying goodbye to. Now, the next word, colortus, means conversation. And this is a conversation between Mora and Ewan, between Mary and Ewan. And Mora says, Mora mai, Ewan, kiss thou. Good morning, Ewan, how are you? Ewan says, Fia vai gora mai edvore, kiss thou hidden. Very well, thank you, Mary, how are you? Mary replies, Gullas Gagan, going and complaining. Tammy mai the lure gora mai ed, I'm okay, thank you. Ewan says, Quai Shedden, who's that? And Mary replies, Shednelly McKelly, that's William Kelly. Ewan then says, Tammy Goldish, I'm going now, Sleddenjat, goodbye. And Mora, or Mary, replies, Sleddenjat, goodbye. And that's where we have to say Sleddenjat. A feather vel shore and Jera, Jera soon name ons ABBYR SHEN. Because this is the end of lesson 1 in ABBYR SHEN.